the takes that'll roast like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk, pace, and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk, pace, and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that. Stevie leads the charge, he is the Warriors chief. Adam's got the takes that'll roast like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk, pace, and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk, pace, and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk, pace, and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight now.
Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do.
What do we call this thing? The Racing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host Jason for joining us. Adam's back this week. And as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help
Good.
us. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason, we got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about
Yeah.
the other.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got.
Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. You know, I've been in this league for like what 2-3 years, and yeah, finally face to face.
Yes, our first guest.
Yeah.
You're on the spot now, Jeff.
Oh,
So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again, great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So, thanks for sitting through with us. And
that was fun.
and
Thanks.
yeah, it's some good racing. So, well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it. Very good to us. And Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with.
So, Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing, I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying shit. Oh, see, I literally. Whatever,
Yep,
I give up.
there you go.
I know you've had a mute for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when
Yeah.
it's for the views when Adam and you are there. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh yeah.
Stevie leads the charge, he is the warrior's chief. Adam's got the takes that'll roast like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. Racing Line, for the Racing Line. Yeah, for the Racing Line. Woo! Stevie leads the charge, he is the warrior's chief. Adam's got the takes that'll roast like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime for sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Stevie leads the charge, he is the Warriors chief.
I think we're finally here. We made it. The racing line tonight. Little issues there, but I think we're finally here. Take a breath, Adam. Adam didn't run out of gas in spite of he made it home. So good to see everybody. Episode 41. And we've got our special guest, Mr. Andy Cossick. Is that the right way to say it, Andy?
Absolutely. You got it.
All right. Good to see everybody. Oh, what a day, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Still got the greens on even. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Now you
There
can
he
hear
is.
me. Hi, guys.
Sorry, I forgot to remind you.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, I'm back. All right. Anyways, how about some videos?
How about some videos?
Right.
We kicked off round 1, week 1 of the new season.
Brand new season.
Yeah, brand new. Everybody started off even. So let's see what we did.
All right, on to the FVs first.
Yep. It's the weekend of draft.
We're around in the corner here, Ron. About to get first round.
Fulton
of season
Park
3
International No Chicanes, which is an interesting choice for these.
Yeah, Michelle says, let's skip this. No, too good.
Down into turn number 1, Felix Samoza and Tortolo slot in right behind. There's Sheldon rolling off a pit lane, so we will be starting this race, albeit non-P5. Instead, he's going to be all the way at the back of the pack as the drivers head their way out of turn number 1, down the hill.
Did you forget about that, Antonio?
Number 3, super good spot to try and get a move done.
Several
but
new
also a
names.
Super tough spot to try and go side by side and have it not end in disaster. That's contact a little bit farther in the back. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that looked like they just kind of got stuck together. Another spinner back there. I think that was
New
Antonio
livery, was
Reese,
it?
perhaps.
Too
Getting
lucky for
sideways
Antonio.
on his own. Must have
No.
connected somebody as well. Try to jump back
think
to
he
the
had
front
a
here.
hardware
I
failure
think around here,
going
you
through
gotta
that
be pretty
corner.
heads up. It was so narrow as we're seeing them sorted out. That was a little bit late. You know, you see these this
This
stack
is
of
the
cars
second
kinda
pack
sorting
that
out
we're
that
battling
corner.
very
Just a
hard,
little
and
bit
we're
late on that one where you're seeing the guys in the-
5
in
seconds
the
off the
front
lead
kinda had
pack.
that figured out before they got there. A little bit more froggy back here, and that's how you end up in an incident. You're sort of overlapping with somebody, and
Guido and
before you
Jim
know it, you're in the middle
racing
of the
very,
corner,
very
you're
close.
overlapping, and then it's too late, and you're locking tires as we're seeing here, shapes being cut all over the place, Ron.
The shapes are getting cut, and
And
I
then a
think
purple
there
car
will
lurking,
have to
lurking in the
be
background.
some drivers
Oh.
cutting
Uh-huh.
each other off to end up in the wall, because this is getting really hair-raising.
Tacked here by Marzucci into the baseball mitt.
Oh, and
Ooh, a
contact
little
being
neck poke.
made between Sheldon
Jesus.
and
Vito getting
Mozuki. Yeah,
ushered off the track a little bit.
Now going to try and pounce on Sheldon side by side down into
Send him,
Nickelbrook of
Michelle.
turn
You're in
number
danger.
7. Who's going to win out that battle? Looks like it's going to be Sheldon for now. Here's with how hard those racers were battling. And based off the fact they were 3 wide, I think that may have been it.
This always ends well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
not gonna
fine.
make it 3 wide through here. It gets the chrome.
It's not fine
from
anymore.
Sheldon there for sure.
Love, he's in the pits. Oh, there's some more drama.
Yeah, that was a big one
Further
there.
on,
Yeah.
the racetrack. I think
That
what
was,
happened in the stack up. Let's take
Yeah,
look
a
at this
fast
here. You
driver
can see
starting
that
in the
was Sheldon
back.
going off the
It can be entertaining, but more often than not is just going
I-
to cause more issues.
Wanted to say something about that very quickly while we're on that topic. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Like it's not. It's it for everyone involved in a league race. I have absolutely no respect for anybody that does that, and I know there are people that do that in the Weekend Warriors. Andy and I run XSLR, and I hate fast drivers that start in the back because their race is not back there. You've got people battling throughout the field everywhere, right? And they're battling in the position that they qualified around their speed. So when you have a fast driver that comes in and mixes all that up, this happens 95% of the time.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Or if you start in the back as a fast driver, be respectful of the drivers that are probably slower than you as you go past them, like doing dumb sends, making it 3 wide or 4 wide. You got to understand that you're not going to catch the leaders no matter how fast you are.
Right.
You have to go through 35 cars. So
a lot of the mindset for somebody starting in the back is they treat it as a one-off race instead of a season where they all link together.
Right.
And if you have issues with somebody, if you take somebody out, they can't just jump into another race like the officials and get their points back.
Right.
That's it for the whole week.
Yeah.
So everybody has a lot riding on this one race. So
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to take points away or discourage that.
That was a huge miscalculation from
we already
Matthew Sheldon.
Oh
Hits the side
man,
of Brewster,
yeah.
who spins
Yeah, there was one car
violently
that got
off
through
into the
that.
wall. Brad Cathcart
I guess
gets caught
Preventer
up
did
in
too.
all that, and Michelle Lynn
It's
and
been a
really.
while. We had a rule like
It is
that
out.
in Spec
Button has
5.
been pressed.
We
The
too many
graphic is
last
up.
to first challenges, and it's
Wonderful.
quite honestly disrespectful to the other drivers.
Hey,
So,
Andy, I think
there
that
were
rule was
penalties.
called the Joshua Soto rule, wasn't it?
Yes.
I
gonna
think
end
it
up-
Yeah,
was.
been called that, yes.
SMB covered that when you guys decided to come up with that.
one small
That's,
I've had a
doesn't
thought
surprise me.
of the rule in the Weekend Warriors being if you don't qualify, you don't get points.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
kinda
but,
one
I mean,
one thought, but
if they're not qualifying, they don't really care about points anyway. So,
yeah, that's true.
but yeah, last lap. The
You can do
chess
stuff from
match
the
of
pits if you don't
draft.
qualify.
Right.
They settled their differences. Tullo actually dropping down.
You got a lot of
bit,
choices.
Up the straights down into turn number 10 of Druid's corner. For the
Okay.
last
Anyways,
time
back
in
to the
this race.
action here. Obviously, Ethan's part of the Slow Motion Racing Garage 61 team, and Ethan, I've been noticing, has been getting a bit sweaty lately in the Formula V's, setting some pretty fast times, and you can see
On
why.
the outside on the last lap. Too much.
Who's that lurking behind?
Mr. Tolo, he didn't get the photo finish this time, though.
No,
Felix,
new season.
Felix
he
pulls
didn't
it
get
out.
Yeah, great finish there at the end. Great driving from all the drivers there at the end to stay
Yeah, the
off
top
each
four
other.
covered
That
by
was,
a
great finish
little
for
over
everybody.
110.
And Felix Samoa is going to take that from third. You were right, Ron. It's the catbird seat there in third place.
Looks
Probably
to
the best
get a
place
top
to be
5
if
and
you got
Spec 2
Joshua
win.
Justice.
Let's
That
go,
carbon was,
Parvinder.
right to the line there. Not quite enough for Joshua Justice. Dan Trzynski going to bring in
And Dan
second place
finishes
there.
in 7th somehow. Who let that happen? Well, I guess I know who let that happen.
Yeah, well,
Yes, there were Michelle.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for, yeah.
In the air.
Oh,
You know what?
the slide.
It wasn't
Nice.
a jump. It
Michelle
was a
doing
jump
some,
I think I've
skateboarding?
ever seen
Yeah,
done in
she
golf
says
on
she's
this
recruiting
field.
Ethan for her setup crew.
Yeah.
I think Ethan has already been recruited. So that is not good news for everybody else out in the field. So,
Yep.
congrats to Felix taking the win in Spec 1 as well. Alan DeGasis, great drive by Alan. P2, P1 in Masters. Down there, P5 too. It's pretty cool to see a Spec 2 driver up there that far. You don't see that often in the Formula Vs, and I don't think you're going to see it nearly as often anymore in the Spec Racer Fords. But, yeah, great to see Parvinder up there. Great finish by Parvinder, and just keep an eye on this Spec 2 battle, because this battle got extremely close. And all the way to the end of the season. I think down to the last race even between Parvinder and Michelle. So keep that one in mind. On to the FFs?
Yep. Oh.
At the semi-direct track.
Race of this season, going and rocking and rolling. I don't think these drivers will want to do the rolling over part, but I think they will be
It's
ready to
Wolverino
rock it here for
on
season number 3. There's
is that
already
what
contact a little bit
we're,
farther in the back. Someone popped
deciding
up a
on
wheelie.
for
It is a
Antonio's
very
tank?
hectic start. The
Wolverino.
nearly went
Got it.
wide there, but the green
Is that what
flag's out,
Flavia said?
and the drivers are on their way. Looking like a good start there from Antonio Reese. Looked like Dan Witzak was maybe going to try and size up and move a little bit.
Yeah, I
further
need
in
to
the
get
back
used
and take
to
up tops. Looked to back
not
up
really
for a
used
move
to
on
Antonio
Tortolo
driving
down
that
into
bright of a
turn
car.
number 1.
Yeah.
There's some
My brain
trouble
can't
before
process
the
it
back.
yet.
That's Buchanan in the number 5 car, currently hounding around Felix Samoa's in the 31. A very hectic start, and I'm surprised we didn't have a big
Wolverino.
pile up coming to bring
Wolverino.
So we have ditched back to
Wolverino.
Wolverine.
It's unfortunate that they did not grab the green, but
Wolveronio.
Wolveronio.
As
That's
we have
what
got
it
some
is.
See
rain. That
some
was the
excellent
perfect
camera work from
shot
Guido
as
there,
we
catching
swept
the
our way,
raindrop
heading
starting.
through
Yeah.
number 7.
Oh, Jimbo.
Upside down, coming out of the turn. The rain's coming
Landed
down,
it.
the rain's up in the air, and
Yeah,
Jim
and the
Brewster
rain
is
start.
as
It had
well.
like a
Running
1%
nose to tail
chance,
to nose
and
to
we
tail
got
to
it.
nose to tail as
Well,
we take
it
a
is the
look at
weekend
moment
warrior,
for Jim
so
Brewster, soaring to
I
new heights
don't
coming
think
at
we
turn
ever got a wet track
Sardines
though.
in a
I mean,
can
we
to
had the
Adam
rain,
Thompson,
but
who's
I
for some
don't
reason never
ever.
been
I
able to
saw
understand
a
that
little bit
analogy.
of
We
spray
take a
from the
look at this
tires
moment.
at
Kevin
times,
Adrian
but
Summon,
it
ball
never really
making
felt like a
contact.
wet
I
track.
saw him dropping down like a
What did
stone
Roger say
into
about
a
me?
pond, and let's take a look at that moment. Contact with himself
What
and
did he say?
Adrian Summon making
Oh,
contact.
he's
I saw him dropping down like a
Gotta go back just a little bit.
Coming
He's
out.
saying the like anchovies in the
coming
can.
out of the turn. The rain's coming down. The rain's up in the air, and Jim Brewster is as well. Running nose to tail to nose to tail to nose
Sorry,
to
Jim, you
tail.
gotta watch it
As
again.
we take a look at this moment for Jim Brewster, soaring to new heights coming out of turn 7. Sardines in a can to Adam Thompson, who's for some reason
Sardines
never
in
been
a
able
can.
to understand that analogy. We take a look at this moment.
Ooh.
for Kevin Adrian Summon,
what is that
ball
supposed to
making
mean?
contact. I saw him dropping down like a stone thrown into a pond. And let's take a look at that moment. Contact with himself.
Watch
and
this
Andrew
avoidance
Love.
by
Look
JP.
at Jason
Yeah.
Perry,
So
though.
good.
He
I
avoided
went
that by a
inside of
matter
JP.
I
millimeters.
saw someone
Yeah,
go
you-
screaming down the inside.
Yeah.
Let's look
Yeah,
at
watch
that
this
was
Perry
car
me
coming up,
flying inside of
Contact being
JP.
made
Coming in hot on the left side
synchronized
here.
Oh
spinning
my
and-
God.
Granted, I do not want to
They call him
know
No
that
Lift
the
Ray.
guys see at the present moment. Take a look side by
What
side
a
racing.
save.
That's Mikey
Oh,
Paul
there
trying
is
to
a
get
little
move
bit of
on.
spray
Rodemaker
coming up
down
off the
into
tires
that
now.
one bend.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
gets
that's
that
what I was
spray,
gonna
but
say.
jumps
The
through P2 now towards
these are
Tulloch,
like the
looking to
most
follow
fun
it
rain
around
races in
the
my
outside
opinion.
into
When it
turn
starts
number
dry and
5.
it doesn't
A bit
really
of a
rain
wiggle
too
again
hard.
from Pollard.
Yeah.
So you've got to like
Lodge.
it's not really like a watch this finish.
Whoa!
No,
Whoa!
there's where it was. Oh, look at that. Very aggressive. We're going to replay
Really
here.
slow entrance.
Tell me
The
something.
car in front of him.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
was
I
running.
don't think that was
Is that Mr.
well,
Wilkie?
this is more aggressive, but I don't think
Moving
that was
to the
really an
inside
aggressive
to
entry
make
from
that
Josh. It was
pass.
just a slow entry from
Just carried
Yeah.
a little too
Yeah.
much speed.
Oh no!
Oh.
I mentioned
Bye,
that
Maurizio.
being an experienced driver can
Yeah.
help you out when it comes to pit lane here. Super tough entry, super tough exits, and these cars do not have a pit lane speed limiter, so that can help out
Yeah,
as
coming
well.
up with
Jesus Rodriguez
oh,
is
Antonio,
playing
no.
as Antonio Reese has spin down into turn number 5.
Wolveronio.
He's crashed out.
Come
and he was
on,
in for
brother.
a world of hurt. He loops it around and
That's
drops
2 in a
down to 8
row.
as the battle's on at the front of the field. Let's see Daniel Tufts and Mikey
This
Pollard
got
squabble up at
ran
the front of the
slightly
field.
too wide, put a
Pollard
tire
trying
in
to
the
do
grass.
the
And,
swap-a-roo
oh,
through
speaking
Druids.
of the grass,
Tufts running a little bit wide out
Yeah.
of the turn. Jesus Rodriguez now got slep into second, but he now wants a race lead down the
Speaking
inside
of,
into turn number 11.
sweating
under
a
the
lot, it
bridge
looks like
and
Jesus has
over
put
the
in some
hill
time
through that
in
turn.
Formula
Jesus
Ford.
Rodriguez going to jump into the race lead for now, but Daniel Tufts looking to fight back as well in the 1 car.
So did
Yeah,
Daniel.
absolutely. 6-car battle up here
Yeah.
with the lead as you see Tufts moving back to the
He went
inside,
from
taking
a
that position back over, take up
P3,
P1
4,
again.
5
And
driver up to
that
the
will be the
front.
last of them, as we already
Yeah.
see.
Well, yeah,
Rodriguez
Daniel's
moving to the
always been really,
outside
really
of
quick.
Turn 3.
Darren
Since he's
Rodemaker?
one of the,
Around the
Is that a
outside and
new?
try and hold
That's a
that
new
line.
guy.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yep.
he's got a car off. That was Rodemaker in the background there.
Speaking
Warren
of.
Barrett's there, running in P6.
Oh, see.
Had a few new names here, too.
Save it.
Tufts out there on the that island kink is so difficult.
Off the
Always
racetrack.
has
I am
incredible
absolutely
saves.
amazed that he was able to keep that car going
Those,
in a
those
straight
Dan
line
Tufts.
without looping it.
Yeah.
As here comes Rodriguez trying to take the race
Mikey.
lead from Pollard. Mikey Pollard gonna lose out on P3 as well as Daniel Tufts looking to follow in suit, and he does so down into turn number 7. Jesus Rodriguez just absolutely acing that pit call, and he's now battling for the race win still.
Yep.
Holding on to it now is the race leader of Rodriguez, but Daniel Tufts still there within striking distance if he has a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, another car
Felix,
off.
no.
That is Felix Samoa's off in the grass. Looks like he made contact with the barrier as well, and that's going to take him out of that battle.
Didn't really
No,
get a
absolutely
replay of what
not.
happened to
It's,
him. Not really sure if it was
he's
contact
always
or
up
just
near the
made a
front
mistake.
if he's got a car underneath him.
Watch how close this
That
is.
he can drive. It's,
Bonk.
little contact there between Rodriguez and Pollard.
A mistake to have for him as we're back to side-by-side racing at the front of the field. Jesus Rodriguez and Daniel Tufts battling tooth and nail. Mikey Pollard now going to
That
try and
looked
get
like
something
a
working there as well. The white
Thunderbirds
flag is going to
diamond
be in the air
formation
this
there.
time by
Right.
these racers.
All right, here we go. Last lap of this race.
Last lap.
Rodriguez in the lead. Pollard, Tufts, and Tullo.
Oh my
and
God!
Rodriguez
How
there.
many
That's
cars
gonna
can
give
we
him a
get
run.
off tracks at one time? There
That's
were
gotta
3
be-
off tracks there.
Yeah, that's got to be a
At
slowdown.
the same time.
That is a
Is
slowdown for
gotta
Jesus
slow down.
Rodriguez. He's going to have to
Oh.
yield. He's stuck on the outside as Pollard.
Oh.
As Tullo and Rodriguez come to blows coming out of turn
Torres
number
stretches
3.
it a little bit.
Now there were only 2. That's a big checkup for Tullo. It's a black flag, I believe, for Jesus Rodriguez. He's all to Ford. He's called it a day. These two, though, they're battling for the race win still. Mikey Pollard and Daniel Tufts side by side
Still
through
see
the
some
braking
spray
zone into
kicking
turn
off the
number 5
tires.
for the last time in
But the
this
sun's
race.
out.
Who's going to win
Yep.
that? Tufts going to hold on to that inside line. Pollard, though, going to have the advantage of just being able to hold his line and keep it
Really well
rolling
done
with the
through there.
momentum.
Like in the
He
V's,
doesn't
it's
clear him
flat, an
exactly,
easy
does
flat
Daniel
corner, but in
Tufts,
these
Mikey
cars, it's
Pollard.
not.
Now
So
gonna
that's a
have
really
that
great
run
driving
up
for
the
them.
hill through turn number
To stay
8 and
too by
9
too
through
wide
Water
through there.
Tower. That's turn number 9 into Druids turn 10. The last time in this race, Daniel Tufts gonna hold on to it as they head their way out of the turn. Though
Oh,
Pollard
good
gonna
contact
keep
there.
the
Almost, yeah.
momentum
I didn't notice
rolling.
that before.
It's all total chaos a little bit farther behind these racers, but my attention's on these front two. Tufts leads them down into the final turn at the very end of this race. Your reigning
Great
champion in
defensive
the
driving
Spec
from
1
Dan there.
category didn't win last season. He wins it now for
And
race
clean
number
defensive
1 of
driving.
season number 3. Daniel Tufts gets
First
it
win.
done here at Alton
Yep.
Park. Mike Pollard going to finish right behind him, P2. Tortello going to round out your podium in 3rd. And holy cow, Charles, that was a brilliant race. Antonio Reese wins it at Masters. Jason
Wolverino
Chen
gets
wins it in Spec
P6
2.
Masters win. Jason Chen gets Spec 2 win in P7. And yeah, shout out to the top, really the top 7. I think when they were all in the one giant pack. Yeah, some really great clean racing there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great drive by everybody. I know the conditions weren't optimal. They were close to optimal, but still a little bit of wet track probably introduces even challenges because it's not a downpour, right? So you know if it's raining super hard that you really have to back off, but you don't really know how much you really need to back off when it's just a little bit slick. So great job up there. Great drives. All right, one more.
And Flavio
Hop up the
Andello
tracks to
did
one of
not
my
walk away with
favorites,
a race win during that season,
Interlagos,
but man, he was
in the
really
SRFs.
consistent and a rather consistent.
Oh, look
racer
look
at
who's
that
on pole
season
there.
as well.
There's
He
a
was
green
quick,
car
he
on
was
pole.
Is
fast,
that
and we're
the-
looking for a great start to
the
this season as
Flavio
the
Andallo?
that, and the drivers are on
Look at
their
that.
way.
And,
Look at Kane Lasky
I think
in
he was
the
a little
Flower
surprised
Power
too
car,
because
looking to
Oh,
power
no.
past the two
we,
front row sitters
First
down
pole,
into
and
turn
we
got
number
caught
1.
out by
Lasky
the
goes
green
for
flag,
dive,
wasn't it?
and Andallo gonna get shuffled back
But yeah, let's go
further
Flavio.
down.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Here's
God. How did
Jason
JP
Sherry
save that
gonna have a
again?
half
He got-
spin. He keeps
he
it
got
going in a
straightened
straight
out.
line.
Yep.
That's Ozbek spinning though, heading his way through the turn. That's going to end in tears for the driver of the 110 car. Lost touch with the rest of
God,
the
Joaquim
field.
and
take a look
freaking
at the
Joshua
drama that
Justice and
befell
their
at the start of this
Four
race.
wide
Joaquim
here.
Ozbek We saw him spin coming out.
Yeah,
the second
Kevin
door
Adrian
of
was
the
leaving a little
Senate
space
S, and
for
that's exactly
Justice
what
on the
happened.
inside,
Yep.
and then
Yeah, and you
four
saw
wide
the
isn't
O,
going to
and you
work
see a
there.
couple more
Nope.
cars.
Something like that would be
Nothing.
absolute
Nobody
insanity.
really did
I would
anything
feel
wrong.
bad for our
Wait a
producer,
minute
Mr.
here.
Quinn
Wait
Horsley's
a
graphics
freaking
card,
minute.
though,
Did
because
I
this
see
is
an
what probably
orange
sound like a
SRF
plane
back
taking
there?
off as
You
looking
did.
at
That's
these
Mr. Dan
drivers,
Witzak.
battling hard. That's
Oh, is it?
fight involving Sula
Yeah.
Shutway,
Oh.
Josh Wilkie, and Jeff Fritcher.
Oh,
It's running
cool.
They've got your
the
V7
SMR
runner
paint, yeah.
overall,
Heck
and your
yeah.
V7
Thanks,
of
Dan,
Spec 1
if you ever
racers
watch this.
involved in a battle with your Masters leader and Spec 2 leader. This is going to be close quarter stuff as they had their way down the start-finish straightaway. Al Shutway getting the bump.
Josh doing
Wilkie,
Josh
though,
things.
swapping sides down the inside, going to stick a 3 wide. That's a
That-
gutsy move if ever you see
2
it.
for
And he
1?
makes it work.
That
Fritcher
worked.
with a bit of a sideways snap
Yep.
out of the turn, going to cause him to lose that on some time.
I'm not necessarily keen to accept that bump from
Oh.
Fridger as we see. Oh, we talk
Too much
about
push.
him, and then you
Yep.
see that happen. So he's going to lose those positions, have to try all over again. He's kind of boxed Reese in a little bit there, but Reese working his way around the outside and working their way up through Ferradura and into turn number.
Oh, that's not going to work.
Oh, no. Contact.
Got straightened back out, too.
The field. We'll circle back to that moment. The other driver I was referring
This back
to in
was
Daniel Wood
fighting
making
very,
contact
very
with
hard.
Wilkie. He had to
Oh,
dip
yeah, it
down
looks like
into
Justice has a
grass
bit
to
of
make
right
a
front
base of
damage,
action.
too.
As look at
Yep.
4 wide, not 4 wide,
Oh, this
3
is Zeus
wide
again.
action with 4 cars covered by nothing.
To
Down the
Zeus, Adam
backstretch,
Bradshaw,
off into turn
Josh Justice, and
number 4.
JP,
Holy
Tom
cow,
and Brad
they
in the
managed to get
background.
that somewhat
Stop with
squared
the
away there
send.
without any sort of major
Wow.
incident.
Yeah, it's
Oh, my
he's one of
goodness.
those-
Oh, good
you see a
save,
little
Tom.
lock up there. I think that was Gradwell.
At the very end of this race, and plus we're not necessarily going to...
Oh, he saved it
with
again.
Scott Russell and Chris
Oh, no, he
Pierre.
didn't.
No,
And then
no.
yeah, the tires
Bottom of
are
the track
tires let
there
go on
as
him.
we're 2 wide at the front, maybe 3 wide. Oh,
This is a 2 to
Oh
go.
boy. Oh no! Contact being made with Samoas, and that right there was Panero dropping down like a rock. Contact made as they headed their way down into turn
Sent it
number
in a
1.
little too much into turn 1.
Yep.
I'll
nope,
tell you
white
what,
flag. White
Oh,
flag.
they're getting the white flag here. That was super close, but
Eric
they did get the
Luke.
white. One more lap of
Yep.
racing action. I think these drivers, knowing
I was
that's the
trying
white,
so hard to
they're
get into
thinking,
second
okay,
here.
time to crack the knuckles.
The second is the
crunch
place to
time
be
here
out of
at
the last corner.
Interlagos. Eric Luke gonna lead
Third
them.
is
Coming
just
out turn number 3
slightly
for
too
the final
far.
time in this race. They're 3 wide farther in the back with Green, Andalo, and Samoes. But Eric Luke gonna try and build up that cushion between himself and Kane Lasky. But I wonder, is
Felix
Eric Luke in the
commented, so I
right
had
spot?
to-
If you're
I had to
leading
go
coming out of the
defensive.
final turn,
Uh-huh.
how much of a sitting duck are you going to be in that run up to the line? If you get a bad exit, you're certainly going to be a sitting duck. But even if you get a great one,
And let him
will
get away a little
being
bit,
in
didn't
the
it?
race lead out of
Yep.
turn number 12 of Jung Sao right at the end of this race be the good spot?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Flavio
I think
goes
this-
ran out of
you probably
spider
wanna
sense.
be in Kane Lasky's position running in second.
Whoa,
He's gonna have to
my
stay
goodness,
right on
Felix.
his tail as we're seeing the
Yeah, I
battles
knew
behind,
Felix
Green
was
up
trying to do the
third,
over-under.
Samoas in
There's no
fourth.
way I was going to let him do that.
Up to 5th. Looks like he's going to hang in there.
Whoa.
So he's going to go for broke
Right
here,
there again, too.
even with that short
Yep.
pit stop.
I think I saw Eric Luke potentially miss the apex
Eric
down
and
into
Kane.
turn at number 8. Runs a
Here we
little bit
go.
wide out of the turn. That's going to make sure that Kane Lasky is right there within striking distance. He's going to try and maximize that run out of turn number 12. May see this run up to the turn be a bit of a parking lot. No, it looks like, maybe potentially. I think
Shut
we
the
saw
door.
Eric Luke
Yep,
potentially
and
slow it
that
up a little
backed
bit
him
big
up.
into
Not
there.
enough,
I think
though.
he was just trying to maximize the run out of the turn. You can see that gap, though, less than a quarter of a second between Lasky and Luke as they head their way up the hill for the final time.
And they
Look at
drifted
Jason
way
Quinn
out
Felix
here, and I was
Samoas.
like, what are you
think they're
guys
too caught up
doing?
in their own battle to really try and
'Cause
not
I had to
fight.
defend
the
He's
inside,
gonna
but I
throw a
also needed the
block.
trap.
Lasky got swapped back to the outside. Luke, he wants to win this race. Is
Wow,
he
he
going to?
did.
He will.
Great
Eric
P3 as
Luke
well,
is your
Jason.
winner
Wow.
here at Interlagos.
300 per second.
Yeah, I
Between
think it
those
was
two cars.
12 thousandths
And it
between me
looks
and
like, if
Felix,
I'm
and then
counting this right,
300s
looks like the top
between
8 are
Eric
within
and
a
Kane.
second at the finish
Wow.
line as we see
For
another
the finish
photo
here.
finish there between Justice,
First overall.
Russell, Osbeck, and
Yep.
Gradwell.
Yeah, let's go, Eric.
Almost virtually
Spec
coming
one.
across the
Yep.
line at the same
Great
time.
job.
And especially coming out of the last corner in first on the last
Yeah.
lap. I did that in the Monday SOF race, and I finished in third.
Yeah.
And I got a good exit that
Wow.
time. So,
Yeah, it usually
yeah,
doesn't work.
really well done by Eric. Kane kind of misjudged it a little bit. But yeah, still a great driver from Eric. He was so fast. That entire pretty much all week. So yeah, let's go, Eric. I said last week and maybe the week before and the week before that that he had race winning pace, and he showed it. I didn't think he would win the very first race of the season, but I'm not surprised at all. So let's go.
Yeah, great job by all those drivers up there. You can see Jeff Fritcher comes home Masters P6, but I got a bit of a question here, and this one's for the audience. Flavio, you started up there. You see where Eric finished? That's where you started. Okay.
Uh-oh.
What happened, buddy? You run out of gas or what? All right. Anyways, great finish though, Flavio. P7 still stand up. Obviously, staying out of a lot of those incidents. And looking down here through the order, we got to go all the way back down to P17 to see Kevin Adrian in Spec 2. So great drive by Kevin. Excuse me, to take the Spec 2 win.
And also, just to note, the top 8 cars were under 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The top 7 are under a second apart. So. Yeah, it's usually the it was great that really nobody in the top and the lead pack messed up their pit stops.
Right.
So we had pretty much 7 or 8 cars fighting for the win right at the end there. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well that's that, and back to all of our beautiful faces. We're back.
You got some points?
Oh, we do. We do have some of those. Do you want to see those? Do you really want to see those, Stevie?
Well, it's just, yeah.
We do have some points,
race.
but here's what's going to have to happen, because I got here late. So we're going to do this so you guys get to see our beautiful faces. And I'm going to go ahead and do some things here and get those loaded up.
All right. No rush. We'll wait on you.
Yeah, I know. That's...
We're used to doing that. Watch you run out of gas. Coming up the front straight.
All right, let's try this again. Here we go. So, points.
Yeah, there it is. All right. Formula V's. Felix kicks it out front. Ethan Orr, Tor right there. Again, they're all close because it's only one race, but you can see in the points on the left side, Alan DeGassis down there in the Masters, second overall, though. So,
yeah,
great job for him. Parvinder, Dan, Brian in the Spec 2. Wayne Buttermore, one of our SCCA guys that have come over and started running with us more and more. Good to see him. And Jim Brewster, 1 point apart. From LaFord's, Mr. Tufts kicks it off with a win. First time right off the bat. Mikey Pollard, Tor again. And Jason Chin gets the win in Spec 2. That's like Raymond Brackenoff, I think, is how it was pronounced. Womans McCoy.
Man, we have a bunch of new drivers in here.
Yeah,
Holy moly.
Some good names. Masters. There they are. Antonio, Allen, and Brad. Eric Luke kicks it off in the Spec Racers up front. Kane and Jason Green following suit. Kevin Adrian, Andrew Love, and a new guy, Dirk Braun, with the Spec 2. Jeff Richard picks up where he left off on top of the Masters. Antonio has decided to come over and run the Specs again some more, and our old buddy Jorg Monty running that out.
Oh, man. Yeah, great way to kick off the season there, Stevie, for sure.
And there we are. And if you've seen our podcast very much, you know what's coming now. We get through all the highlights and points and everything, and then we get to spend some time with our special guest, Mr. Andy Cossick. So, again, thanks for taking time out to do this tonight, Andy. It's always appreciative for our guests to come in and take some of their time and share it with us. I always kick it off with a question of how did you get started in sim racing? And after that, Adam knows you a little bit better than I do, so I'm going to let him take the lead tonight on the interview. But where does sim racing come into for you?
Well, actual sim racing started in during the COVID.
Okay.
I'd been playing various video games, Gran Turismo. At where I worked, they had Xbox and basically a gaming rig there with Forza 5 and 6 on it. Spent a bunch of time with that. That was a bad thing to have at work. Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
In the atrium.
Huh?
It was in the atrium at the technical center where I worked. And so I'd hop on there at lunch hour or on the way out usually. So, but yeah, that was quite a bit. So then when the COVID thing came up, I decided that I would start actually working on my driving skills since I wasn't going to be going anywhere for a while. So ran up and got a gaming PC and a Thrustmaster wheel and pedals and put a rig together. And my transition was actually kind of easy because I was racing in Champ Car Endurance Series in real life, and they had an iRacing league. So, I had the rig, and about a week after I had the rig set up, a week or two, I'm suddenly in a league race. So did very badly, but I finished the race, and I spent a lot of time learning how to, drive virtually, and then also really to start working on the finer points of racecraft. So when I was racing the car in real life, I spent a lot of time. I'm really kind of a mechanic who builds race cars. So and drives them. I mostly build them, but then I end up driving them at the end. I figured anything I put in the car would benefit all of the drivers, not just me. So after doing road racing for 8 or 9 years, endurance road racing, I decided, I better work on my driving skills. And then I only ran one race in real life after that. So, but I've learned a ton about it. But that's really how it went. So I did league racing for the most part. I mean, I've done some lobby races and stuff to get my licenses up, but mostly I do league racing because of some of the stuff you were talking about earlier on, right? You have people who can administer the league and enforce rules and try to get a little bit more order. So that's really how I got into it.
Okay, and then Adam pulled you in to tie in with him at some point, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of an odd path. I was
normally is when you get to know me, Andy. It's normally an odd path.
Well, I was in the Champ Car iRacing series, and there was a guy in there who was also a real life racer who I really never met in real life, but we got to be friends through. His name was Simon Foweather. And I kind of got fed up with some of the, they were not enforcing rules too well in that league. And so he said, hey, there's this other rule, there's other league called Spec 5. Why don't you try this? Because he was racing in that league too. And so I got over there. And of course, Adam and Slow Motion Broadcasting were covering the races. And I think that's kind of how I found out about XSLR, and they were doing, I don't know, I think I crashed out a race at Monza pretty good with something that was way too fast.
Yeah.
But then after that, I started participating. I think season 7, they had the MX-5s in the road racing. And so I was like, hey, this is probably a good way to hop in because it's like my backyard, because I'd just done like 2 years or whatever of racing the MX-5s. So I think that's how it got started. And then you get into these leagues and you see, one of the things I like to try to do is I like to try to give back a little bit, right? So I could see I'd spent a bunch of time administering the Spec 5 league, and I could see how I could help Adam and his I don't know if it's benevolent dictatorship, but his running of this league.
My band of hooligans.
to kind of steward the rules a little bit because I'm a big proponent of that type of thing. So that's really how I got involved more than just driving in the XSLR league. that I think that pretty much covers the story.
Yeah, that's
So,
that's about right.
The turned into
that-
a cat
this is
herder.
all the calm. We're not in the middle of a race version.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I tend to. I think everybody knows. Anybody that knows me or that has raced with me or been on Discord with me or met me in real life, anybody that has been around me for over 10 minutes know how amped up I can get. And we needed somebody like Andy in that league because I do get so amped up, which is great. Obviously, there are upsides to getting that way. Obviously, you've got to have that type of. I'm talking about myself, like I know something. But you got to have some type of drive to be able to start a company or do anything like that, like with slow motion broadcasting. But on the downside, as Andy has very quickly found out, and not so quickly now because he's been with us for about a year and a half, 2 years now, is you gotta you gotta find a way. You gotta have somebody else in there that can deflect some of the heat off of the person that I'm super pissed off at, which it's always somebody different. It seems like, it's just a weekly rotating door. So I am not, I don't discriminate. I yell at everybody the same way. So there you go.
Yeah, and occasionally they all yell back at him at the same time. And he doesn't like that too well either.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah. So
anyway, his style is a lot different than the other league that I was involved with, but I've worked with a lot of different kinds of people, and so you just I try to help make it more what he wants, as opposed to taking over. If I wanted to take over, I'd run my own league, but I really kind of don't want to run my own league because it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
And at first I wasn't really sure about this whole XSLR thing, right? It's 4 different disciplines, but the value of it, I think, is a lot of learning.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a ton about how to drive different ways that really translates. I mean, finally here in season 9, we're on paved road courses. Like, this is where most of my experience is. From 2011 to now. Before that, all my real life racing experience was paved, but it was in a straight line. So there wasn't, a lot less nuance there. So
let's get to that. Actually, obviously, I know a lot of your backstory, being around you so much, but most of these people don't. So you started out. You're from Ohio, okay? So let's start there. And being from Ohio, anywhere in the Midwest, you basically get 2 types of racing: drag racing or dirt oval racing, or just oval racing, right? So you either go in a straight line or you turn left. Sometimes right if you're dirt oval racing, but you only turn right when you're turning left. It's a weird concept. But so you started drag racing, right?
So that's Hemi.
Oh, that's Hemi. Speaking of drag racing,
that's Hemi. Yes, his 130 seconds on Hemi. He showed up here and he was under the hood of my daughter's car. It's a Charger. I found him as a kid, and so my cat and I were introduced to ourselves when he was on an engine, so we named him Hemi.
There you go. Perfect.
Anyway. Yeah, so ever since I was, I don't know, as long as I can remember, my dad was a hobby drag racer, right? So in the early 70s, he got a 68 Camaro with a big block, and it had this really hot paint job on it because he knew a guy that worked at a body shop. And so this influenced me, of course, right? Because he was doing this stuff, and he started losing interest. But right about the time me and my brothers started to get to be teenagers, we got him back into it again. So then as soon as we're 16, we get cars, we're out on the drag strip. This is all one what you brought, right? It's like the car I'm driving to work and school and stuff, I'm taking to the drag strip. So my first car was a 73 Chevelle. Did some drag racing with that. Painted it, all kinds of stuff, man. It was that was a fun car. And So I graduated to, I started getting progressively faster. I learned a bunch of things about how to build engines and stuff. Always street cars, but I did that for, I don't know, 25 years or so. And the last one I had was a 76 Pontiac Trans Am that, and I got the car. It was a disaster. I mean, the body wasn't rusted, but there was no straight panels, no engine. I put it all together. I drove it. We used to joke about it, and part of the reason I'm saying this is we used to joke about how mint the car was, right? So people would talk about their cars being mint. So I would always say that mine was the most mint. So that's where the name comes from.
That's what. Get it now.
Anyways, so I got it down into the mid 12s on 87 octane, and but then I started kind of getting bored with drag racing. I mean, after all that
you
time.
wonder why, Andy.
So, well, and even so, I mean, I know guys would race every week. I'd go 6-8 times a year, but still, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So one of my buddies was watching sent me a video of a 24-hour endurance race from the Lemon Series. Yes. It was at Nelson Ledges, which is about an hour from here. And it was this guy driving around in a Mazda Protege. It was the last 10 minutes of the race, just making laps. And I'm like, man, we could do this. We went through a lot of debate about what car to get. And it's a 24-hour race, right? So the first goal here is the same thing as people running marathons. Can I finish this, right? Can we finish a 24-hour race? So that heavily influenced our car. We're thinking, okay, we're driving around on our first race weekend. It's raining at night. Do you want to be in a front-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive? So we decided probably front-wheel drive would be better. And so that's that, and the 5-speed, dual overhead cam, independent rear suspension, all those things were what we were looking for, and we ended up settling on that Saturn. And it's a 92 SC, it's teal. If you were around at that time, teal is popular. They put it on so many different cars. That's the color. And so if you've seen a lot of my paint schemes in the XSLR, I brought the teal. I put it on everything. I put it on Pro 4 trucks. I put it on everything. So, but we learned a ton about this. We did 5 24-hour races in there and another 9 different race weekends all over the place. At first, it was this little thing. Just go to Nelson Ledges and see if you can do 24 hours. And then in 2014, we went to Michigan International Speedway. And what a difference. I mean, I was in the pit stop, or I had a garage that Jeff Gordon was in the weekend before. It was crazy.
Awesome.
So it was so cool. There was stuff, lug nuts laying around still from, the cars and there. It was amazing. The first class facility, the pit stalls are huge. Everything's was just in the car. You comes across the front straight. It's like above your head, just stuff you don't think about. Like, that's my car. So that was pretty cool. We were learning about the car. We got faster and faster. And the main thing with endurance racing is you got to make the car last, right? It has to make it 24 hours or 12 hours or 8 hours if you want to be competitive. And so we were chasing problem after problem. We got better with that as we're going to different places. So our first big finish was at Charlotte on the Roval. We traveled, this is getting bigger now because I'm not just going to Mid-Ohio and Nelson that are an hour away. We're traveling 8 hours. I'm renting a truck and hauling a trailer full of my car and as much as my weight of my car in spares to go race. So you go to Charlotte and it's the Roval, so you spend a good amount of time on the banking.
Yep.
Just insane. You haven't lived until we come out of turn 2 of the Saturn, you're in 5th gear going down the back straight. You're already in 5th gear. So you're piling into turn 3 and 4 wide open. And the thing's a flying wedge, so we were able to flat through there. What an experience. that was. I mean, I don't know.
That would be
I
neat.
couldn't
Yeah.
envision that at the beginning of this whole thing, that we'd be able to do something like that. And then to be able to put the car on the podium after 14 hours was, with 42 cars in the field,
Wow.
it was crazy. So, well, we kept going. I mean, and we got to do the same thing. We got to put the car on the podium at Nelson Ledges in the 24 hours in 2018, which is the home track. So you guys understand what that means, to win at your home track. I think one of the other really fun achievements with this car or experiences was to race at Indy. And we did that in 2019. We got a good draw on the pit stall. I told him I wanted to be in the shade of the pagoda. Our pit stall was on the bricks.
Oh, wow.
Which is like really, we have tons of pictures of that. It was an amazing, amazing experience. So, but by 2021, I could see the cars were, in 2019, we did the race at Indy, and then like 7 weeks later, we did a 24 at Nelson Ledges. The car got banged up really good, and I spent a lot of time fixing it after the Indy race. And we podiumed there, but then 2 years later, we were fifth. Actually, not podium. We were fifth out of 25, and we won our class. They have classes by engine displacement, and so we were in the second smallest displacement class. And we were still, fifth overall, pretty good. But 2 years later, our car was like the second slowest or third slowest on dry pavement. And the rules were changing, and it was a lot of work to keep up. And, look at me. I'm like mid 50s already. I'm like, this is a lot of work, And we've done a lot. We had a lot of really great experiences. And now I'm starting to do iRacing where if the car gets wrecked up, you just press a button.
Exactly.
So, you're pissed.
Yeah.
But only for like 20 minutes, not 7 weeks, while you're pounding out the right side of the car, replacing panels. So and valves in the engine, and oh my gosh. I see people complaining. You guys all know what it costs. Everybody here that's regulars knows what it costs to do iRacing. But when you compare the cost of iRacing to real racing, it is dirt cheap.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was going to go. I mean, the next thing is why did you, I know, because so you said 2019 at Indianapolis, right? That was it. And then 2020 hit. Was 2020 and just the cost of everything, and then obviously getting older and wrenching on it, did all of that just kind of culminate to you saying, screw this, man. Like, I'm done.
COVID.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic too, because I got two kids, and they came along with this whole thing, like from when they were 12, 13 years old. They're showing up at the track. One of the cool experiences early on was when my kids are giving me lap times.
Right.
So, and in 2016, my daughter became crew chief. I made her crew chief to manage all the people and all the, to make sure the driver's there, everybody's there to change tires, gas, all that, make sure all that stuff was in line. She did a great job. And she actually got to drive in 2021. We raced at Nelson, and that was her debut in the car. So I do feel kind of bad, but she's not pushing that hard. My son still has the car, so I'm not sure if it's going to come back or not, but if it does, I'll be glad to be the crew chief, and I'll be glad to provide technical support. But I can't carry that load the same way that I did before. So I think the main thing that really killed it was we just weren't competitive anymore. And I had started building another car. It turned out to be an incredibly large amount of work. And I was just really concerned that by the time I got done with this, the rules were going to change and I wasn't going to be competitive anymore.
Right.
And so I just pretty much moved on. I like working on cars. I've had some other really interesting projects that are not race car related. Although I did kind of buy a Cadillac ATS to do dirt drag racing.
Oh, an ATS on dirt drag. I mean, Andy, you never cease to amaze me, man. I mean, it just.
So I'll send you some video links of that.
Oh man!
But other than that, the amount of work for the amount of track time after having put 15,000 miles on the car and achieved all those things, the payoff wasn't there for me.
Right.
So
you ever get involved with the WRL as well?
We did one WRL event.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, kind of a weird story. A buddy of mine had an E30, and we took it there. And this was before. I mean, the WRL was evolving faster than Champ Car.
Yeah.
So you could
that
see
was where I was going with it. But
you could see the quality of the cars there was much better. So, but he had an E30, and we were pretty competitive in Champ Car, and he took it down there, and I got in the car for my stint, and literally it blew out the clutch on pit exit.
Oh man!
So I got one lap the first day with half a clutch, and that was it. And then the second day, about half an hour into the race, he went into the barrier in the carousel.
Oh man!
And they're fixing the car, and I'm like, look, dude, I want to get some track time. So you guys are going to like this story. So Mid-Ohio is an hour from my house. I hopped in my car. I drove to my house. I picked up the Saturn, drove down there, went through tech, and I raced 3 hours in my Saturn with the WRL.
Oh,
Love it.
that's
Love
great.
I think if I'd had another hour, I was in GP3, I would have won the class.
Wow.
So
yeah, I worked with WRL a few times, pit out and doing some staff work with them. And what you were talking about, the advancements and how things changed and competitiveness of the cars and everything. I mean, this was back in 2018, I think, 2019 maybe. And kind of the same thing that back then, a lot of what your type of car and racing I saw, but after that, it advanced too fast. And like you said, the quality of cars there now and everything, they've got a really good thing going, but it's definitely not, you can't really call it a real grassroots garage winter car anymore either. So
yeah, I understand, and I kind of feel like Champ Car has done the same thing. It's taken them longer, but they're getting to that same point. When you show up there now, you see a lot of more professional teams. I mean, more trailers showing up, more. They're catering to people who don't mind paying $400 or $500 an hour to drive a race car.
Yeah.
So or up, okay, and that's the way they want to go with the league. That's fine. But it's just not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to re-engineer the cars. My car every year to try to keep up with this.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's harder to do grassroots with them, but it's probably the Lemons is probably the easiest thing the lowest barrier to entry right now.
Right.
If you just want to go out and race. So yeah, but I enjoyed everything about my time in Champ Car. I really don't have any regrets about it, and I just think that today it was 95 degrees here. We raced at Charlotte. It was 95 degrees. I cooked myself the first time I got out of the car. Now I go down to the basement. It's 64.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll put a hoodie on.
Yeah.
So I don't. And that was 9 years ago. So there's a big difference. Sometime in my 50s, I just lost a little bit of that stamina that I need to be able to carry through all that stuff. So I still get to race, and it's a lot less expensive.
Right. So you said that your son has the Saturn now, right?
Correct.
Correct. Is he the type that you think he's ever going to be able to get out on the track? Is he going to do something like that? I mean, what's stopping him from following in Dad's footsteps there?
It's hard to say. I was really surprised that my daughter was the first one to hop into the race car in real life. But like when she was 16, we said, "What do you want for your birthday?" She's like, "I want a fire suit and a helmet." Okay, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
So, and he is he's got an engineering mind. He likes tools and technology and stuff, and he's been running his own business now for a couple of years, probably about 3 years now, I'd say. And so he gets very focused on those things.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want me to sell the car outright. He wanted it to be there for when he finds time. Whether he will or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I really kind of hope he does. But if he doesn't, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. And, everyone, Michelle, I'm calling you out, has said multiple times that I should get in a race car, but a lot of it just comes down to time. I mean, I'm in my mid-30s, and I mean, having a baby, a wife, and all that stuff, you don't have it. If you want to start getting into racing, you got to do it about when you were young, Andy, and then you're able to kind of block out time because the racing was always there. For someone like me, who has already blocked out time for other shit, then it's a lot harder to make time now for racing. So I totally get where he's coming from.
Yeah, and it's funny because, in 2011, I'm starting this thing, and my son's 11, my daughter is 13.
Right.
So, you're talking about having to make time for things.
Right.
So, I'm coaching my son's soccer team. I literally had to leave the race in 2011 to go coach a game. It's a 24-hour race, right? I went the first bit, I handed over to the team. I'm like, I'll be back like 7 o'clock or whatever. So I actually had to do that 2 years. But they were, old enough that they could participate.
Yep.
If they wanted to, and maybe not the first year or two. So I was really kind of late getting started with this stuff. I don't know. It's just weird when these things come, they come. I do kind of wish I'd gotten to it earlier, but the reality is that this crap's expensive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times you're earlier in your life, you're trying to get your house, you're trying to get things settled down, and all that stuff costs money. And so you don't have the money for this stuff.
That.
I mean,
yeah.
You can make fun of drag racing, but it's not that expensive.
Right.
It can be if you want it to be, but if you do bracket racing, you can do that, with anything.
Right.
So, and it's not too hard on the vehicles compared to, you start loading up the horsepower. Yeah, you can break stuff.
Yeah, just watch Cletus. Yeah, exactly. That is a great segue, breaking stuff and loading up on the horsepower, because you were talking to me. I had to be, I'm losing track of time, and I'm not even Stevie's or your age yet, but it had to be like 6, 9, maybe 10 months ago. You said you finally sold a car out of your garage, and this is where I want to go with this. How many cars do you have in that garage where you sold a car? I think it was the Corvette you finally got out from underneath you.
Yeah. Right now, I have 2 driving cars, and that's it.
Okay. So
It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. So there was always extra cars here because, since my kids were old enough to drive, I've always been kind of a 2-car person, something to drive in the summer, something to drive in the winter, and then you end up, then the summer car, you can have that, and then a race car, and then so now there's 3 cars, and then now I got to get a car for my kid, and so there were times when the Saturn came home, I think I was packing 4 cars in the detached garage. It's 28 by 32, so it was a tight fit, and then another one in the other garage, plus my wife's truck. So, it's been a while. And then there was this odyssey of projects that I did. I got a 2017 Dodge Challenger that was totally wrecked that I fixed. And before that, I fixed up a Dodge Charger for my daughter. There was a parts car associated with that. It's, I don't know, pretty early on, my wife put me on a quota of cars.
I was gonna say, so everybody, we all battle with our addictions, right? Like everybody's got their own addictions they got to battle with. For car people, including myself, thank God I got rid of the El Camino because I don't know what I'd be doing to it at this point. But like for car people, it's cars. You spend more time and more money to soup up your car or just to make it look cool. Like if I were to kind of down the same lane of iRacing, if I were to take and tabulate all of my iRacing cost, it probably, which would probably be a lot, it probably wouldn't even get close to the amount of money I spent on that 1972 El Camino just to get it 50 miles down the road for it to break again. It's just one of those things.
Sure.
I'm
Absolutely.
done. I'm done asking questions. I've been talking a lot. So if anybody in the chat or Jason or Stevie, if you got anything for him.
Brian said that you ought to check out some of the vintage racing stuff. I think that's a little more grassroots with some of that stuff. But
you talking like SVRA?
Yeah, that and SVRA, and what else did he say?
VSCDA, VRG,
VSCDA,
yeah,
in Michigan.
Yeah, I see it there.
VRG, yeah. But yeah, I've seen some of that, and those guys, they get some pretty good racing in, and it's definitely a no contact for that kind of stuff. So that's another road racing option. Don't hear much about.
Sure. Well, I do want to just talk a little bit about comparing and contrasting iRacing prep versus real race car prep, if that's a relevant topic.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned pretty quickly in iRacing is when you have a real car and you don't like something about it, you could change it. When you're in these grassroots racing leagues, like the Saturn, I am not good at driving loose race cars. So we put a wing on the back, man, and we put some downforce back there. Another factor is reliability, right? I mean, the Saturn, we got to be pretty fast, but we weren't the fastest. We just didn't break,
right?
Yeah. And that makes a difference. And here, when you're all driving Formula Vs that have the same setup or whatever the car is, it's all you,
Right.
And so there's a much bigger challenge getting an advantage. You can only go so far, where I could do crap and things like that, change the car. I mean, there's rules that could be bent, that type of thing.
Not broken.
In racing?
Cheated or
In
anything?
racing, no.
No. I can't remember who it may have been Stevie. I think when Stevie was up here, we were kind of talking about his real life racing and all that stuff. And I believe the term that came out of your mouth, Stevie, was you learn to live in the gray area. The gray areas are your best friend. So
yeah, for a lot of classes and stuff, mine was the spec racer. And,
right.
I mean, it was tight. The engines was sealed, lead seals on the carbs. You had the same suspension. You just adjusted it. Same tires as everybody. So, I mean, like I said, the guys with more money had fancier paint jobs. We didn't have wraps at that time, and had more spare tires, but they still had to learn to outdrive you. So that was, I like the spec classes for that. The reason that you were talking about, they still, all the Formula Vs was the same setup, and they got to outdrive you.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, you still, and those are shorter races, so it's a little bit less relevant. So maybe my comparison is, I'm thinking endurance racing, because that's where you can, where your prep can make a difference, more so. So, I mean, you still got to have setups, right? And the car's got to last for a weekend, but, the reality is the number of hours you put in a weekend there is probably lower than 14 hours or 24 hours of driving in that amount of time. So the prep especially in a grassroots league, counted for much. And here, I just have to learn how to get faster. I mean, I was just talking with Adam about this the other day. Like, I got to find some pace. You know, that's the only solution.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and I actually, back on the finding some pace thing, I want to talk about something that I've started getting into now more with slow motion racing, and kind of bleeding over into now SRG and XSLR now is Garage 61. Like, speaking of like ways to get faster on the sim and stuff, Garage 61, since I found that, has totally changed my life. I mean, knowing that now you can integrate it into Discord and stuff like that, just to be able to see people's lap times and compare your lap times, and you're looking at telemetry, it starts to become a little bit more real than just, like you were saying, Andy, just getting in your car and not worrying about it. Now you're actually looking at telemetry, you're learning how to read the graphs, you're learning what's going on. So that the advances in sim racing, just even in the past 5 years, 6 years since I've been on it, have been insane.
Right. Yeah, it's very those tools are helpful. I use a different service than that, but there's a lot to learn from if you can find the same car track combo anywhere and get data on it, even looking at your own data, there's a lot there to be learned there. But we're all on the adding pace part, right? It's what you do,
right?
So and that's very relevant in iRacing. So I do appreciate the fixed setup leagues and things, because I can do some of that setup stuff, but oh my gosh, I have enough trying to learn how to drive the track, let alone figure out how to drive the track and know that my setup's any good.
Well, I mean, when you go to stuff like XSLR, the reason we do fixed setups is because we change it so often. Trying to learn how to set up a brand new car. I mean, we have some quick turnarounds too. So if you're coming out of an 87 stock car and going into a GT3, and I've got to learn how to set that thing up in a week, no way, Jose. Count me out.
Nope.
Right.
But,
yeah, those are fast, dude. Like there's a lot of fast stuff that you've been running here in the XSLR lately, and you think about it. My Saturn, dude, we tuned it up.
Yeah.
We're making 130, 135 at the wheels, maybe.
Yeah.
2,100 pound car.
Yeah.
That's the zone that I'm comfortable in. That which is part of why the MX-5, some of the other cars that are a little bit less, they got much lower power to weight ratios.
Sure.
Less power for the weight are more in my backyard. Plus front wheel drive, which by the way, I'll be voting for TCR for.
I had a feeling that one was coming, and you can have that one. You already know what I want for my
yes.
For my
we had a TCR class in the Tuesday night Ray Esports Club League. And that went over pretty good, actually. We had some real life guys in it that ran TCRs and stuff. So
yeah,
that's a lot of fun. Any one of the front wheel drives is I enjoy those. And it's funny because it wasn't until 2011 that I started road racing, and I really didn't like front wheel drives before that.
Yeah.
It's just how it kind of worked out. So now that's more my backyard than anything.
Hey, Coach, have you done much of the front wheel racing?
You want to talk about?
I don't think I've ever driven a front wheel drive car in the sim, actually.
You want to talk about a man that likes high powered rear wheel drive race cars? You look at Jason Green.
Yep.
That man drives the Indy car. He drives the F1 car. God, yeah, just crazy.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
rear wheel drive, 1,000 horsepower. Let's go.
Yeah,
front wheel drive, super heavy car.
Yeah, they're fun.
Not really my speed.
It's just the learning curve is so great, and that's one thing about XSLR is it's humbling when you go into there and you sit in a 900 horsepower car with a giant wing and 3 brakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're on dirt.
Yeah.
You know, oh, here, welcome to XSLR. Here, let's race these 410s.
Man,
So-
that was wild.
Back on that real quickly. I know we're running a little long here, but so Stevie, I'm not trying to paint you in a bad light here, but you got in an incident in one of the dirt oval races, I remember, and we were watching the replay just to make sure that everything was done right. And Andy goes, "Is he holding his brakes?" I was like, "There is no brake on that side." Like it was the front right tire was just spinning. I was like, "He didn't have a brake over there." Yeah. So, but go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, that was one of those lessons. I'm like, I'm just going off of how the car feels and when it turns and stuff. And I never actually looked until after that. I started looking at it real close. I'm like, there's no side in the front at all.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the other cool thing I would say about iRacing too is like, and Andy, I can expound on this just a little bit, but is when we get into a new car, Andy is, in case you didn't notice, the rules guy, and he's very analytical about a lot of things. He gets in and he reads about all these cars he doesn't know about, and he was schooling me up on a dirt oval. I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana, right? And this guy is schooling me on some of the stuff I had no idea about in the dirt ovals. Like it's crazy. So that's pretty cool too about iRacing is you get to learn stuff. You learn a lot more. You're like, oh, what's this car? And then you read about it, and then you know.
Right. I mean, without the internet, man, there's just so much that you guys all know this. I'm not telling anybody anything I don't know, but it's like, oh, here's a topic to go look up. Here's something to learn,
Exactly.
and how does this thing work,
Yep.
So that thing was something like no gear changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First gear from 0 to 170, man, or 160.
Yeah.
You can send her all the way up there.
Unbelievable, So. But anyway, it's great. That's one of the great things about the league. I think I'm calling it like a decathlon because you gotta run all the events and they're all different, and then it's who's best at all of them. So that's part of the appeal here is to learn different things, and so I've really enjoyed that, and that's kind of why I'm here. So glad to be with you guys tonight and share what I can and. I don't know if there's any other questions or if we're good to go here.
Good to go. Like Michelle says, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know. So that's definitely
Absolutely.
applicable in this stuff.
100%.
Quick heads up on the future racing lines. One of our key players, Adam, is going to be gone for a while, out of pocket. So we're going to take a break.
I am. This is the same guy that can't even get a broadcast or a podcast to go live at the right time. So
I can't get it at all yet. So I don't know enough to do it at all. Even though I started spot. Yeah, I need to. But we're going to take a break for about 3 weeks. I think the next one we're going to have is July 23rd or 22nd, whatever that Tuesday is. And what I think we're going to do is I might throw up some past editions, some encore editions, and I would like any input from you guys. Who you would like to see again? Who did you miss? Who was a great one? Who do you want to see again? And we'll put up some encore editions for the next 3 weeks just to keep it going and something to watch should you want to. So other than that, I've got a guest scheduled for that week when we come back. So ought to be another interesting guy. And anything else, guys?
Yeah, Brian, one more thing. Brian, lay off the beer, buddy. It's a Tuesday night. That's all for me.
Yep. All right.
As far as there's a question in the chat there, I don't know. I've got enough
Jason,
leagues right now.
That's Jason Grinder, by the way. That's JG1 asking.
He's over there.
Yeah. I like the concept of a lot of it because I see the horsepower to weight ratios there are pretty good in those very competitive fields. But I'm running 2 leagues and they're not even every weekend, and that's already a lot. So we'll see what happens. But
anytime you can make it, Andy, you got an open invitation to come.
Always welcome.
And it can be very humbling over there as well. So
yeah, I learned that in Spec 5 real fast.
I ran with those guys a couple of seasons too. So I actually got a trophy for a season from them.
Thanks.
for the old guy class.
And Andy, you don't have to answer what Michelle asked. It's fine. We can just go ahead and end it.
I think we already got his thoughts on
Yeah,
you. So
exactly.
I think he comprehensively laid that out earlier.
I didn't even see the question.
Said,
what do you think of Adam? Oh, there's the question.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Good night, guys. We're out of here. See you later.
He yelled at you long enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. With that, once again, Andy, thanks so much for taking time to join us tonight. It's been fun, entertaining, interesting background with all the endurance stuff. That's pretty cool. And I wanted to do some of the endurance stuff on iRacing, just haven't had a chance. Started to, and I got taken out for some reason. But
Well, I mean, there's one this weekend, Stevie. So we're expecting to see you there.
this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a good way to end it. Slow Motion Racing, Watkins Glen this weekend, 6 hours. I know I will be running with Russ Telker because we are the only sensible ones that decided not to drive a spaceship, and we're going to be in the GT3s. I think the whole rest of the team is going to be in the GTP. So tune in.
Awesome.
Maybe, hopefully, I might be able to find a way to get it streamed at least for Russ and I split. I'll just stream it from my POV. But yeah, tune in there, guys. And and if you're not part of Slow Motion Racing, please become part of it. I know somebody in this chat can get you a link. You can DM me on Discord or something like that. We can get you in there.
Yep.
I'll be working Saturday night, so I'll have it on my desk over in the corner so nobody sees it. But
yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, thanks a lot, and we'll see you in about a month, I guess. Other than that, we'll see repeats.
Yep.
Adios.
Appreciate you guys.
See
Take
y'all.
care.
Stevie leads the charge, he is the warrior's chief. Adam's got the takes that'll roast like it's beef. Coach extraordinaire, yeah, Jason's on the mic. Seat four's wide open, who's rolling in tonight? It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesday's prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight, now hear that whine. Engines up, it's time for the Racing Line. It's the Racing Line, Tuesdays prime. For sim talk pace and weekend warriors time. Strap in tight now.
Appreciate your time, Frank. This gentleman has done wonders for sim racing, the real world racers that come into sim racing or go back and forth. Frank's responsible to get some guys out on track. So without further ado, Mr. Frank Swartz, Grass Paddock Motorsports, tell us what you do.
What do we call this thing? The Racing Line. I'm all out of sync. We got more people to deal with this week than what I'm used to. So thanks to my co-host, Jason, for joining us. Adam's back this week. And as you can see, we got a fourth sitting here. Megan Oversheet is already joining us to help us do some reviews and stuff. So thank you, Megan.
Let's go, Megan.
And help
Let's
us.
get-
Good
let's get
evening, Greg.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, we're just getting ready to review the spec racers, and since we had an announcer in the waiting room, we thought we'd go ahead and bring you in.
Well, thank you very much.
There he is.
Hey, we got him.
Hey, Jason, we got you this time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
We won't talk about
Yeah.
the other.
Our special guest for the evening, Mr. Dave Ogburn, and for Dave to introduce you to these two knuckleheads, you got.
Great to see you, Thor. Welcome to the fourth chair and the podcast this week.
No, thank you so much for having me. It feels surreal, like finally being able to talk to you guys. I've been in this league for 2-3 years, and yeah, finally face to face.
Yes, our first guest.
Jeff.
Put you on the spot now, Jeff.
Oh.
So, welcome, Mr. Jeff Jacobson. Again, great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time out to join us. We get to some fun part. That's why you're here, Jerry. This is our guest segment after the reviews. So, thanks for sitting through with us. And
That was fun.
And
Thanks.
yeah, it's some good racing. So, well, first of all, we gotta say thank you to Trenton for taking time to come join us. He's one of the hardest working guys I know, and you can look there in the shop behind him and get an idea of what he does. So, as everybody sees, we've got Darren Ganji, and if you didn't know already, he is Mr. Sim Motion, where you can get all your sim rigs and equipment and everything. He's also the sponsor of that league we were just talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sean Ambrose, we go back forever, back to the very early beginning days of the Weekend Warriors when it was broadcasted on another broadcast, GSRC, I don't mind saying it. Very good to us. And Sean was one of the producers, announcers, always great to talk with. So,
Mr. Edgar Sancinelli, Weekend Warrior, Frito Sport Racing. I don't know what all you do, but great to have you join us tonight, Edgar.
Yes.
I'm not saying shit. Oh, yeah, I literally. Whatever,
Yep,
I give up.
there you go.
I know you've had a mute for me. So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, when you
Yeah.
it's for the V's when Adam and you were there. I mean, it's
yeah, it's
jeez.
Oh yeah.